WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have Glenfarclas, the family cask, Germany exclusive. Ooh, cask number 1832. All right, so before I get into more details, we have this nice little cardboard box. The family cask here, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. And on the top we have a little the same sticker that goes basically on the bottle. All right, so we're gonna open this up. So I've done the family cask before. So you have here this nice, inside the cardboard box, you have this nice wooden box here. And that's about it. So let's take a look at this. So basically there were two for Germany. So I'm gonna talk about the next one in a moment as well in the second video. So I must commend Glenfarclas for one thing. They put enough magnets in here that I can actually hold the box like this without it even opening. All right, so I need a little bit more force. I can always get it open, no problem. That's a total of 4 magnets here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it snaps shut, so watch out on your fingers. And you have this nice little wooden box here, which means, of course, it's a collector's item. Now, this came out in Germany in August of 2021. I bought the bottles, so you know I'm way behind in my bottle filming. So I've actually done many more bottle shares this year than there are days in the week. So I'm getting behind here. I have to catch up again. And this was a first fill Oloroso sherry hogshead. So hogsheads are not used in the production of sherry anyways. So the distillery has had a 25-year-old relationship with or partnership with the bodega Jose wow, I was trying to do great Spanish and I really screwed it up. The bodega Jose Imagel on Martin, close to the Andalusian capital of Seville. So back then when I was in Spain, I did a little trip with my wife. I was in Seville. I was a little bit in Andalusia, and I didn't even visit anything with sherry. Shame on me. I did not know I loved sherry back then. I needed to know more information about sherry. Oh well. So this is Whiskybase 190005. It's a vintage. It's actually a single cask, so it was 21st of September 2009. Wow, I remember 2009. And it was bottled on the 7th of April 2021. So it's 11 years old, and it's 165 euros. So my rule of thumb was and still is 10 euros per year after a certain age. This is much more. And people have complained about the ages here. There's one guy actually online here on Whiskybase that said, 2 years ago, I bought a bottle of family cask from Glenfarclas. It was twice the age of this and cheaper. Something's wrong. So he bought a 22-year-old bottle for less than 165 euros. And today, the 11-year-olds are going for 165. Wow. So since it's a hogshead, it was 326 bottles. If you do exactly the math here, you get 228 liters. So a hogshead is 250, which means 22 liters, which is about 10% in 11 years angel share. Not enough, to be honest. Now, if I work with American distilleries, which I do sometimes, I'm always told that in the first year I have 10% angel share. After that, I have 3 to 4, depends where you're at. I'm excluding Texas, all right? Texas doesn't count, I know. Now, why 10% in the first year? Because the wood soaks up that whiskey. It's like a sponge at the beginning. You have a charred cask, it's dried out, and it soaks up the whiskey. Apparently, now I'm just gonna throw this out there. Apparently, this cask here of the sherry hogshead, the first fill Oloroso sherry hogshead, was maybe so wet that it might have added a liter or two towards that content of whiskey. Who knows? All right, so 700 milliliters, German exclusive here, price 165. That's all I can say here, family release. It used to be, I'm talking 2, 3, 4 years ago, that the family casks were not just the pinnacle of Glenfarclas special releases, but also something people would gladly put money on the table for. All right, so I'm going to read the back of the box here just very briefly because I like this. It says here, back in 2007, we launched the Family Cask, a unique collection of single cask malt whiskey with a cask from every year from 1952 to 1994. Amazing back then. For the collection, we have selected the best casks from our dunnage warehouses, and each cask has been bottled at cask strength and natural color. I am delighted that the family casks have caught the imagination of whiskey drinkers around the world, who have enjoyed exploring the subtle nuances between individual casks. Indeed, many have been lucky to receive a bottle on their birthday. What could be a better birthday present than a bottle of Glenfarclas distilled during your birth year? So, for me, a little bit too long ago, too expensive, sorry. All right, the family casks have also received many accolades, including being named the best new Scotch whiskey of the year, multiple casks by Jim Murray. Well, that's not something I'd put on my label anymore, would you? All right, such has been the success that we have bottled further casks and will now add to the collection going forward through the 2000s. So we believe the family casks offer the widest range of vintage dated whiskeys running in consecutive years from one distillery. Whilst our intention is to continue to offer this wide range, it is inevitable that at some point our stocks of suitable casks for a given year will be depleted. Yes. From 2007, I don't think so. Sorry, 2009. I don't think so. All right. It is thanks to the foresight of my late father for laying down more stock for our own bottlings, which has allowed us to be able to offer the family casks today. We hope you will enjoy exploring and savoring the history of our family-owned distillery in your glass. John S. Grant. Now, to be very, very honest, first thing first, John Grant laid this down himself. He was at the command of the company in 2009. So, 11-year-old stock is not old, people. It's young, all right? Think of Glenfiddich, 12-year-old, their entry-level product. It's 1 year older than this. And that goes for 30-some dollars, euros, whatever, or less. This is 165. Now, yes, it is 60.1%, but is that really what we're after at the moment? Are we really trying to get whiskeys above 60% into our glass and saying, oh, that must be better because it's higher proof? I sure hope not. It's 60%, 0.1% ABV because they did not fill the sherry, first fill Oloroso sherry Hogshead at 64.5%. They might have filled it at 68 or maybe even 70. And then you have a little bit of reduction in the 11 years, and you get still the 60.1. Higher alcohol in the cask does not guarantee a better product. Almost always the opposite. Higher alcohols draw out totally different flavor profiles than lower alcohol. That is why all the good new distilleries in America are going in a lower barrel entry proof, not higher. Yeah, and then what's happening in Scotland is many distilleries, Glenallachie, Glenfarclas, and a few others are going in higher and higher. And I do not appreciate and do not enjoy that trend, to be very often, to be very, very honest here. All right, so this is from George S. Grant, the Hanseatische Weinhandelgesellschaft, also called HAVE. So our history in your glass established 1836. So as I said, this used to be the pinnacle of whiskey out there from Glenfarclas. I'm sorry you basically lost that right by bottling 11-year-old family casks and selling them at a price twice what you just did a few years ago for double the, for half the age. All right. So what am I going to compare it to? This time I'm going to compare it just to something I have here. I did a blind advent calendar in English, and this was fairly nicely done. It's a 1 liter bottle. It's 72 euros over here for the 18-year-old. Yes, it's only 43%, but it's still an okay whiskey in my opinion. It runs around 58 euros for a 0.7 liter bottle for 18 years of age. Something I can recommend if you need to have that age statement here. All right, 18 years of age, 11 years of age, 60.1, 43%. That's the only problem here. If you look at the darkness here, the color, if you would have been able, if I dilute this down to 43%, it's going to be lighter actually than this. All that darkness comes from the concentration. And it's actually not very, very dark for a first fill Oloroso sherry cask, to be honest. I mean, you can still see me here a little bit. I'm surprised at the lightness of that color in here. But hey, that's just me. On the nose, I get wood glue is the first thing I get. I get pine tree sap. Not things I want for my Glenfarclas. I get a tiny little bit of honey, and I get a little bit of a sherry moment. Now, if I go to the 18 real quick, right after nosing that, I get here sulfur. So once again, I must commend Glenfarclas on the family casks. There have been very, 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 very few family casks that have been the sulfur bombs. I have had quite a few of the Glenfarclas. It could be the 12, it could be the 15, it could be the 18, it could be the 21, it could be even the 25, that have had too much sulfur in them. There was a time where they just received all their casks, they put the sulfur candle in there, transported the casks over to Scotland, and they filled them up, and that sulfur managed to work its way into the spirit, and it's been in there ever since, unfortunately. And if you reuse those sulfur casks again, that sulfur just keeps on being drawn out of the pores of the cask. So I think they finally learned that you can have refrigerated containers or send them over in the fall or the winter where the temperature's not warm, not even in Spain, and then you can get those casks the way you want them without those sulfur candles and ruining the taste of my wonderful, wonderful whiskey. All right. This seems behind the sulfur to have more of that sherry moment, more of that herbalness, more of the goodness. And this is funky. It's almost a little grassy. It's like cut lawn moment. So I have wood glue, I have pine sap, and I have fresh cut grass in a family cask from Glenfarclas, which is exclusive to Germany. I've had the theory quite a few years now that anything is exclusive to the Netherlands, exclusive to Germany, is often a cask that was not good enough for anywhere else. Sorry. Now, the 60.1% are fairly well integrated. Good job there. But it is a little weird, a little funky. It's not Glenfarclas. Cheers. And it's definitely not worth 165 euros in my book. Wow. There is still heat there at 60.1% wham. And there's a youthfulness to this as well. It's hot. I'm going to stick with the grassiness. I'm going to stick with the pine tree sap. I'm not sure about the glue, that wood glue moment. There is this honey moment in there. There are some nice little herbal moments in here. But if you were to give this to me blind, I would have said 8 to 12 years. I would have said 55 to 58%. And I would have said some type of weird off sherry note. And I would have said 60 to 80 euros. And I would never, ever want to pay 165 for this bottle again. Just way, way, way out there. Too much for that, what it should be. Cheers. I put water in it. Let's see if it changes. Brought it down to about 50. Yeah, I brought it down to about to 52%. Almost swallowed wrong with my whiskey here. Yeah, C minus type of whiskey. It's funky. Maybe blind, I would give it a C. but it's not what I expected for family cask. I've had a few family casks. They are legendary, especially in the German market. You ask anyone if they've ever had a good Farclas. Oh, I had a family cask. It was 5 years ago, and it was the most delicious thing I've ever had. 20-some years old, 55%, whatever. Yummy, without any hesitation. And this is 11 years old and 60.1% and way overpriced and just not in my taste profile. It's not my wheelhouse. In comparison, the Glenfarclas 18. Mm-hmm. Mm. This is for me a little bit moreish. Moreish means I want more of it. This is something where I swallow, enjoy, and my hand almost automatically goes back and I'm going to have some more. This is some good stuff, especially at this age and at this price. I can highly recommend the Glenfarclas 18 if you can find it, especially in the 1 liter bottle. Good stuff. Can I recommend the German exclusive cask here of 1832, one of 326 bottles, 60.1%, first fill Oloroso sherry Hogshead, 11 years of age? No. Value for money? F. Okay, people, I have a second one down here. It's 1 year younger. We're going to see here, it's 10 years old. It was in a sherry butt. We'll see if it's better. I don't know. We'll have to see and find out. All right, WhiskyJason here. Whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Single cask, German exclusive. And we'll see what happens in the future with the single casks. Glenfarclas, I'm sorry. Not this time. Bye-bye.